Are you just plain tired of being tired? Whether you're going through a breakup, or whether you had a fight with your parents, or whether you're uncertain what to do after college, and you're just stuck in a rut that you can't seem to get out of. You want to take action, but you feel like you have so many negative emotions inside of you that you simply can't, because it's almost like your brain is fighting the urge to just stay in bed and scroll through social media. Trust me, you are not alone, because I have recently gone through the same exact thing. Now, I don't know your exact life situation, but we've all experienced a rut in some shape or form. The most clear indicator is waking up later than normal, going to bed later than normal, not wanting to do any kind of daily tasks, scrolling through social media, having a tone of voice that actually sounds like you're feeling down. And I completely understand how you feel. But you can't be feeling like that all the time, because at some point you gotta say, I am tired of feeling this way and I want to change my life around for good. I want to start getting up early, I want to start doing all of these things, but there's emotions in me that are preventing me from doing that. So what do we do? Max, what can I do? And this is exactly what this video is going to be about, because I'm going to be going over a list of things that I have personally done in order to get out of a rut and start making progress towards my goals and seeing the results that I want. Now, the reason why we fall into a rut to begin with is because your brain feels a sense of hopelessness. This is why people experience depression, mood swings, anxiety. You essentially feel like there's nothing else worth doing, and so your brain does not actually have a reason to go seek that goal. In a sense, your motivation is very low due to very low levels of dopamine in your system, as well as elevated levels of cortisol. And whenever that imbalance happens, your brain wants to find the quickest form of relief in the form of social media binging. This is why you tend to scroll on social media when you feel sad. It's because your brain wants to get the cheapest form of dopamine in order to feel happy, and it knows that the least amount of resistance is going to come from that form of dopamine. Now that we've identified exactly why people fall into a rut, the first thing you need to do is to create some kind of traction. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean experiencing any kind of win you can possibly experience during the day. Whether it's hitting a workout, whether it's getting better at a certain skill, whether it's playing the piano and playing 5 extra notes that you haven't played previously. Essentially giving your brain some kind of progress bar, because when you introduce some progress to your brain, the brain naturally wants to accomplish more of what it already started. Now you may say, Max, but how do I even begin to do that thing if I don't want to do it to begin with? And this is where the 5-second rule comes into play. Essentially what the 5-second rule is you count down from 5 to 1, and no matter what, once you hit 0, you have to do the task, no matter what. This is going to train your brain to start associating that number 0 with action. There's no delay, you go straight into whatever it is that you want to do, despite how you feel. Now, this is a very important habit to cultivate, because in life, we're not always going to want to do things and need to essentially give ourselves that extra push to do them. And so using this 5-second rule, I was able to get out of bed, I was able to force myself to go to the gym even if I did not want to, and I was able to read even if I didn't want to. Now what? Max, what are the things that I can do on a daily basis in order to elevate my endorphins and serotonin and lower my cortisol? Number one thing you can do, and this is due to the fact that the mind and body are interconnected, is utilize some form of physical activity. Now you know this was coming, because when you engage in a really tough activity that trains your muscles to go till failure, you experience endorphins. So endorphins are essentially a numbing effect that your brain releases in order for you to not feel a lot of pain. It essentially anesthetizes your body. And because of that, it also releases some dopamine out of it as well. So you actually feel happy when you're going through a struggle that you can handle. So going to the gym, hitting a push-pull leg split, making sure your diet is absolutely dialed. that is going to ensure that you are going to feel so much better about yourself. And even if you are stuck in a rut, I promise you, after a workout, you are going to feel like $1 million. Now, the second thing that I personally like to do is escape. Now, what do I mean by escape? It means escaping out of the environment that you are currently in. Because if you are wallowing in your own pain in your bedroom, your brain associates currently this bedroom with pain. So in order to change that pattern, what you're going to want to do is put yourself in a completely different environment in order to start stimulating new connections in your brain that does not have anything to do with a rut. So what I personally like to do is I like to go out into the wilderness where there's a lot of trees, lots of birds, and just a lot of like natural sounds that you can hear, because for one, it has a very therapeutic effect. It's almost like listening to binaural beats on your phone, essentially. But another really amazing thing about taking walks is that you let your brain wander. And when your brain wanders, you come up with the most extravagant ideas towards whatever problem you want to solve. So every single time when I walk and talk to myself, I tend to get the wildest ideas. I know this may seem like 3 p.m. unemployed activities, but I promise you it's not. And every time I go on walks, it almost feels very therapeutic. But yeah, so just talk about whatever. I've experienced this in my personal life as well, because I try to take daily walks every morning. I don't do it perfectly all the time, but when I do, I get the most craziest insights when it comes to content, to business, personal life philosophies, and such. And it's kind of hard to be in a rut when you feel like you're making progress simply by walking and being completely alone with your own thoughts. And you can pair this with journaling as well. But I personally don't really like writing down things all that much because I like to talk to myself. As weird as it sounds, when I talk to myself and I get the words out, they flow out quicker than I can write them. Because if I take the time to write stuff out, I'm not able to fully express everything that my brain is processing. It's gonna look weird as hell. People are probably gonna judge you. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because they are not going to be at your funeral. Following up with the next thing that I like to do to personally get myself out of a rut is to go from internal focus to external focus. Now, what do I mean by that? When you are in a rut, you tend to get very narcissistic. You tend to wallow in your own little pain. You tend to ask yourself the why questions. Why me? Why do I feel like this? You start to overanalyze without actually making any improvement. But when you put the focus outward onto other people, now you can actually start serving others, which is going to allow you to completely forget about yourself. It's almost like shedding a sense of your ego identity and being completely enmeshed in the life of others. This allows you to put yourself on the brakes a little bit and allows you to give. Focus on giving instead of taking. So instead of being in a rut and focusing on, oh, how can someone else make me feel better right now? Focus on how can I provide for the world and someone that is meaningful to me. I found that when I went and did stuff for other people, if I was feeling down, whether it's complimenting somebody, whether it's, giving money to someone in need, or just doing any kind of kind gesture, I ultimately feel a greater sense of purpose because I'm contributing to this world in a positive way. And finally, this last thing, which is actually the most important one of all because it is a mindset shift. You see, most people think that being depressed or being in a rut is actually a bad thing. Oh, I'm not making progress. Oh, I'm stuck in bed. Everything's horrible. My hair is greasy. There's trash all over my room. But when you start to look at a rut and depression as a way for your body to take a step back and reflect, it changes the entire game. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is when you get depressed or if you are in a rut, your brain gives you a chance to reassess your current life situation and start coming out with a better plan in order to change it. See, if you're constantly feeling neutral or even happy, you're less likely to change things in your life, and you're less likely to reflect because you're avoiding a lot of the problems in your life while staying neutral. And when you're in that neutral state to slightly happy, it's very hard to see that something is actually going very wrong with your life. When you are in a rut and you're depressed or anxious, your brain gives you a chance to take a step back, like I said, assess what is going wrong in your life. Why do you feel bad about that certain thing? And to start to take a change, to start to take action to change that thing. For example, a recent rut that I have been in, I was able to take a step back and reassess my values and reassess what's important to me. How much of life do I want to take seriously? And whether I should take life seriously. Because previously I did take life a little too seriously, when in reality, you could be gone at any point in the timeline. Life is very short. So my new paradigm is that we should be able to enjoy and have fun with life along the way, no matter where you are. And I wasn't going to come to that conclusion had I not had my little rut to reflect. So treat it as the perfect time for reflection. You're going to have time. If you're in a rut and you don't feel like doing anything else, at least journal and ask yourself the big questions. Some of the questions I like to ask myself is, why is what I'm doing right now not making me happy? What is not making me happy? How can I change something that is not making me happy? And when you start asking yourself these questions, your brain will start generating all kinds of awesome ideas on how you can actually change your situation. So overall, change the mindset shift. A rut is freaking awesome when it is managed. And utilize all of the tools that I have given you in this video. Because if you work out, if you take walks, you journal, you read, you do every little thing to improve, even by 1% every single day, it is going to be really hard to get out of a rut. And as a bonus thing you can do to get out of a rut, for sticking to the end of this video, is, you will not believe it, but cleaning your room. Because your room is a reflection of your mental state. If your room is really messy, it is likely because you are in a very bad headspace. So if you clean your room, you clean up your environment, you will see just how awesome you will feel after it is all said and done. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching the video. Like and subscribe for more self-improvement content, and I will see you in the next one.